Welcome back to The Climb. Today we have Alex.
Hello,
Alex,
hello.
welcome back. I am so happy to have you.
Such a pleasure to be back. I had so much fun last time.
Last time we talked about so much random stuff, and we made it very clear we don't have a game plan going into this. We're just going wild.
Yeah. I think this time might be worse, actually, because I think we had the important thing that we talked about prior to the podcast to speak about, and that was like the first half of it, and then the tangent started. I have no idea what's going on this episode, but
it's all right. We're just going full tangent this time.
Let's go.
You've done multiple D&D campaigns. Do you have a favorite? Like a setting, a time period,
So the way that me and my friend group works is that we all have our respective campaigns and everything. So like pretty much like I go multiple weeks I play D&D like multiple times a week, right? So I'll do Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, right? And then the other days are usually I'm either focusing on work and doing some personal stuff. So I do have a lot of campaigns. I actually dread being asked which one is my favorite because I feel compelled to not answer truthfully. The truth is, and this is a total ego moment. The truth is that I have a campaign.
Yes,
yes, and it is my favorite. And it sucks to say that. Not to say that, like, obviously they know their campaign settings are good, and they know I have so much fun playing in them. But I think the setting that I made was special because it was like. So one, it was like it was like the longest project I'd ever done for anything, like ever. I've been working on, so it's a campaign called 1001 Nights. So it's, the naming convention is taken from like Arabian Nights and like those stories. It was a campaign I've been working on for, I want to say 5-6 years before anyone ever knew it, anyone ever saw it, anyone ever knew anything about it. It was just me. Like sitting down and be like, all right, I want to build a world. And then like building like gods and deities and like holidays and like cultures and practices and everything. And it just got like super deep within like the whole space of like making a thing that like, I mean, obviously like it's my baby. And then I got to introduce like my friends into the world and then like watching them like add to it in ways that were like super creative, like add like places. Like, so I had the huge map of like this place. And I was like, all right, then there's like this country and this city, they're allied together, yada, yada. But there were spots I left intentionally blank because there's a trick that I use with D&D that like basically you make your players do all the work, right? So like when they were making their characters, I was like, hey, I don't have any hard limits about what you want to play. What are you feeling? You tell me your vision and I'm going to try my best to make it work for you. So then they'd be like, oh, well, like, when I think about my character, they're from a place like this, and here's like their friends, and like here's what they do, and I'm like, yeah, sure. And then mystically, there's a place in the campaign that suits all of their backstory needs.
Nice.
And then you filter that into the world, and they're like, hey, so how does this place connect with all the other places that my players inadvertently made for me? And then if you do that enough times, that you have a world that feels really lived in, and you trick your players into constantly wanting to explore the world, because obviously, like, there's a level of like. When you're playing a D&D campaign, there's a level of like consent that your player will give you. Like, okay, I know you're making a story. I know it's going to have twists and turns, up and downs. Like I agree to, in good faith, journey the world that you've made. Right. But if you allow them to make pieces of the world, it's 10 times easier to convince them to like, hey, why don't you go stop and talk to that guy? Or why don't you go stop and go in that like creepy dungeon, do some things that like maybe they wouldn't be as susceptible to, but they know that like, oh, like there's a piece of my character in this world somewhere. And a lot of it's been hidden from me. So I have to go out and find it. And it's just motivating them to go out and explore. And that gets them more comfortable with the notion of like putting themselves out there. Like when you make a cool character, you want to do cool stuff with your character. So like now they're more motivated to try to participate, and they're more motivated to try to have those cool character moments that really helps the whole collaboration effort of the storytelling. If I couldn't pick mine, so my boyfriend, he made a campaign setting. It's called Divine, the Wonder Trials. It's based off of a story that he made, but essentially it's like our superhero campaign. And I've been into like superheroes and comic books literally since I could read. as like a small child, I was convinced that I was Spider-Man, and like you couldn't tell me otherwise. So like being like an adult and getting to be then like actually be Spider-Man in a setting where like Spider-Man is like an acknowledged thing and comes with all the ups and downs of being a superhero and everything. It was like it's super duper awesome. So yeah, he's gonna listen to this. You did a wonderful job, hun, and I love you.
When you first start story writing, I feel like it's could be almost daunting. Like,
yeah,
did you find passion in writing it? Like, kind of what came first? Was it like your creativity, you tried to kind of flow in different ways, and then you decided to start writing? I feel like to create something out of nothing takes effort.
Yeah.
What initiated that effort for you?
That is a really good question. I want to say the thing that initiated the effort, I want to say first and foremost was music, I think that like the first medium that hit me, because I was always a very like imaginative kid. Just kind of like I used to move around a whole bunch and I'd just be all over the world and everything. So you sort of had to like, there are periods where like my dad is like deployed, or like my dad is off somewhere, and my mom, she has like 2 other kids to take care of, and she's a busy woman and she's working hard to make sure that everything in the house, everything in your house is okay. So there are some moments where like you're by yourself, and I spent a lot of that time just kind of like imagining things or playing pretend and everything like that. And I think the thing that really did it the first time was music. Like, this is a very specific memory to me. When I was in Ethiopia, the cable channel, there was like this one channel that just had music. It was just music videos. There was no like commentary to it either. Like there was no like host or anything. Like you'd flip the channel on, and then like from the program airing to like the time where the runtime is over, it is just music videos. And so like my mom, she would just like, if she was doing something, she'd just throw it on and just have it in the background. So I'd just be like hanging out, just like watching music videos all day. And then I'm like, man, like this is so cool. Like, because I was like, okay, like music isn't just a thing for your ears. Like the music and the visuals are going together and they're painting a picture, and there's like story and narrative, and like you can watch like character progression and arcs and everything take place over 2 minutes and 30 seconds. And it's like, okay, cool. And then, so I think that like initially the vision was like, I wanted to make music, and it still is like, I still have a really big interest in making music, but I think the music videos, like doing video and like editing and all that stuff like that really took me. And I think it was because of the story aspects of it. And then I realized that I was like, but I think it was always a daunting thing for me, because I was like, man, like, yeah, I gotta learn an instrument, I gotta learn melodies, and I gotta learn all this other stuff. And what I was looking for was, I was looking for an outlet where I could express the fact that things can change, right? And like music, just like there are chord progressions, like all the little subtle ways that musical artists tell stories and like weave their own bits of personality into whatever music they're making. I was like, I could just do that. But I can like, but instead of me, it's like fantasy guy, and he's in this place. And then really it was just like a lot of story and then I like got really big into the writing, as a lot of storytelling stuff. And then I figured out that like, okay, I got a lot older, and I was like, okay, well, I can take this like seriously. This can be like something I'm like really interested in and like really want to do. Like, and it just felt nice having something that felt like it was transcending a hobby. And then I was just like, from there, I was just chasing it down. And I realized that it was like that like creative like bug in my brain that made me make things. It was like, I think that's like a genetic thing. Like my sisters are the exact same way. Like my sister's in the process of writing her book right now. Like all of them, we've all written stuff, and like they used to, and it was even worse for them because they were in an era where like you were like Tumblr and Wattpad and AO3. You could literally like, go in there and make fan fictions all day. And there are people that have made like more than a living writing. Just like, I'm in my room and there's like a band that I really like, and I wonder what would happen if they were all vampires, or like, there's this really cool movie that like I really, really resonate with. It was like, what if these two characters in movies, what if they were gay and in love with each other? And you would just sit down and you would write whatever you wanted. And they grew up in an era where that was like super prevalent, and that was like the peak of it. And me following after them and me just wanting to be like them in every way, shape, and form. I think I also took after like you could just make a story up about anything, and you could really do anything you wanted in it. I think like I came to that consensus when I was like a little kid and just took it super serious, and I just haven't let it go since.
That's really awesome. Like that progression is so solid, and I really like the layers of it as far as starting with music videos in a really unique way. Like that, like growing up in Ethiopia, like all of it is so unique, and I really like it because that is very you. Like when we talk and stuff like that, like creativity is the vibe that I get.
Yeah.
And I really like that because it means that you carry that in your day-to-day life.
Yeah. And I think, but I think I have to, you know what I mean? Like, I know I'm someone who, I can get very complacent. I can get very like samey if I don't like challenge myself to do things differently. Like, and you know, I think you should always be challenging yourself, like whether it be in like a small way or a big way, but it's like, that's also like kind of annoying. You know what I mean? Like if everything was just like chill and the same all the time, then that would be like perfect. But, you know, being creative demands that you be original and you try your best to like, and even if originality is not even like the main goal, it challenges you to think about yourself critically. Like, what are you interested in? Why are you interested in it? What does it do for you? How could you mimic that feeling in other things? What inspires you to do whatever it is that you're doing or writing? And I think I found that like if I just keep doing that like repeatedly, then like you can form really good habits out of that. And now like, you know, like being creative, being like challenging yourself to be creative brings like so many cool things. I think like, I think that a big thing for me was that like I was scared to fail, and that was preventing a lot of what I wanted to do, and it still prevents a lot of what I want to do. I can still catch myself sometimes being like, well, I wouldn't be very good at doing that, whatever. But like, the failure is the process. You know what I mean? If everybody was great at everything, then nothing would matter. Then nothing would ever be cool.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, and being creative teaches you that it's okay to fail. Like if you make a story, and sometimes your story's boring. Sometimes your characters don't make sense. Sometimes your song sucks. Yeah. And it's like, but the process of doing it is learning. And then like, the more that you get out of that experience, the more that you fight for that urge to be like, no, like, I still want to make something. I still want to do something. Like the more, like, I think the more complete the process will feel. And just taking those lessons and like, make sure I internalize them has been like a really important thing for me.
There's a lot of wisdom in those words as far as the way that I view like purpose in life, which I think is a really important factor. And when you don't have it, it's kind of like that cruise control through life. Yeah. And the way that I view it, just simple steps is effort. Like if you just put effort in one thing a day, you start to care more about it, right? Yeah. Like if you want to get better at running for whatever reason, like you start tracking your times and you go through it. And in the middle of the run, you don't worry about the time. You worry about how you feel. Like, all right, I feel strong. I'm going for it. And you just deal with the suffering. Like you deal with the failure. And then that's it. And then you stack up small wins. And then every day kind of just improves from there. I also really like directionally correct. So like you could have everything wrong in this bucket, but you just need one, right? And you just need to be the one. Just move that one forward, one piece. We could just play checkers. Yeah. We could just go one at a time. A big issue, I think, is everyone's always in a rush. Yeah. And you know what? I think there is a weird, like, I think people value time. It's weird because I feel like time is a paradox in the way that like people value it so much and also not at all at the same time, whereas like everyone is always rushing because there's always a sense of like impending doom. Like I need to be someone, I need to get somewhere, I need to do this and get this now. And also it's like, but like I think a lot of people, they want that end result quickly, and that's why that like they like fear and respect and like are always about time, but then it's really hard to actually put in those hours to get to that point. The level of attention is needed to like get where you're going and everything. Everybody wants to like reach that end point, but there's like a billion little things that you're like glossing over, and those are the things that matter the most because like those little things build up how you get there, what getting there even looks like,
And, and I think like what you said is super smart because that literally can go for anything. Like whether it is being creative, whether it is like physically, like, oh, like, like I'm trying to lose weight. I have a body goal. So let me just start blasting these reps and let me not think about what's going on.
Yeah.
And that's how people, you don't make any progress and you get stuck. And then it puts you in such like a vicious cycle where like you're trying so hard to get out, but you're also you need to get out now and you're glossing over things and it makes it harder and harder to get out of, get to where you need to be. And it's rough.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm curious about your process when you are trying to be creative. What's the best way for you to do it? Like, for example, do you prefer like sitting in an office, like no windows, like you just nose down and grind? Or is it more of like, I like going outside and engaging in things and creativity comes to me that way? I feel like it's so unique person to person. Like,
yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'd probably say that process looks a little bit like, so I have, so I do this thing where like, I say that I have havens, right? So there are like certain places or certain actions that I do that I've noticed generate the most creativity. It's like when I'm feeling the most relaxed or when I'm feeling the most comfortable. I think your environment when it comes to being creative is super duper important. I think that like the thing that stunts a lot of people creatively is that they don't feel comfortable in the environment that they're in. Right. And I think that's like, and that was a big thing with like school. Like a lot of people struggle with like managing creativity while they're in school because school is not to say that it's impossible, but it's just not the best environment. It's not an environment conducive like max creativity.
Yeah.
But I have these like havens. Like if I'm at work, I can like, I do most of like my creative stuff of like if I'm like thinking about ideas for a campaign or like if I'm like trying to jot down a melody in my head or I'm thinking about a new character voice or like I'm going to do this or I'm going to do that. I do that at work all the time because work is a space where I know I have control over what's going on, right? Like, like I know how many orders are coming in from this or that. I work at Domino's, by the way. I know how many orders are coming in from here and there. I know who's all coming in. I know this job. I know exactly what I need to do. I'm very proficient at it. So that way I can literally like there are times like we'll be super busy and in my mind I'm not even here. I'm like writing a story. I'm doing something else because I have like really good control over this. Or what a lot of times what I'll do is that like if I'm in my room, I'll turn on music that I like, songs that I know, songs that like I know will like elicit an emotion from me. And I sort of break that emotion down and I'm like, okay, maybe I'll give this emotion to a character. Like some of my favorite characters that I've made or some of the favorite characters that I've like written have been like, I remember listening to this song and I remember how that made me feel. And I try my best to just turn that feeling into a person and like, okay, why does this person feel that way? What is generating that feeling from them? And then sort of building things off of that. So like, I get inspired really easily and I get inspired by like really silly stuff. Like I get inspired by like colors or like if an item is a certain shape, Yeah. So it's like always, and I think that like it's a 2-part process. So like 1, I'm in a space where I'm comfortable and 2, I'm always looking to be inspired. Like I'll never shy away from the opportunity to like hear something cool or to read something cool. I love like reading other people's stuff. I love it so much. I have a lot of friends who make music. So like when they make a song, I'm like, okay, sit down and explain to me this process. Why did you make this song? What does it mean? How did you put a chord there? Why'd you do that? Like, why does it sound the way that it does? And like hearing people just explain their process and really get deep into the weeds, like really, I think really gives me like this like huge bump because I'm like, you know what? Yeah, like, I get it. And like and they're introducing me to like new little methods that I've just never thought about. And so I think that like having like a collaborative network is also important, but yeah, it's really just a series of like making sure that I'm in a place where I can control and I know what's going on and just like kind of wait for that inspiration to sort of come naturally in that moment.
Nice. There's a lot of layers to that. I think that it's very clear though that you have those 2 core concepts that you brought up. That's something I think anyone can use.
Yeah.
The additional part though is I feel like a part of it is like a muscle. Like you start slow in the beginning.
Yeah.
And then as you get more used to it, it just starts your brain is always on.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a muscle. That's a skill that was developed over time. It wasn't
For
like
sure.
we wake up and we immediately are like, I see everything, you know, like
I get it now.
Like it's a slow process, and
Right.
in the beginning it could be like, all right, I have to concentrate on this. So I'm going to sit down and I deal with this, and I have to deal with being bored. I feel like that's a really core part when it comes to creativity is you have to be bored first. Like you have to wait and not intake other stuff and just wait sometimes.
Yeah. And you know what ends up happening is that like I think that the fear of boredom is that like, and I think it goes back to the thing you said about people rushing. I think that like not being able to just kind of sit still and be in a space is really hard for being creative, because I've noticed what happens a lot of the time is that like when you're not afraid of boredom and working something out, you end up like narratively you're tripping over yourself. I've done it 1,000 times. I've like, oh, I need to get something for a session out now, and I need to just go, and I'm like, I feel like I'm trapped, so I end up just throwing something out, and what I throw out is like not very good, or like I haven't really thought about it that well. I don't know, you know, and it's like creatively, if you're making something and you want to do the best that you do with it, like the best thing is to like the greatest advice that I ever got. I had a teacher. Her name is Miss Little. It's like my middle school teacher. And we were writing, I think it was like we were writing like a book report, but it wasn't like like we weren't writing about the book. Basically, like it was just like writing assignment. It was like around like the Holocaust unit, or whatever. And we were writing about basically like everybody got a card, and you were like, the card had like the details of like you became a random person, right? So like I think I was like some like 17-year-old Hungarian kid, and I was like, okay, like. And they gave you like, which in hindsight, this activity was kind of messed up because it was kind of like Hunger Games a little bit. Where like you could need to figure out if you died in the Holocaust or not, and if you did die, you got to tell us why. And if you didn't die, like how did your dude react to the Holocaust? And the best I could come with it, I was like, when the Holocaust happened, my guy said, "This is not good." And then, but I was like really stressed out because I was like, I don't know anything about Hungary. Like I don't know what's going on. And she was like, but she was like, hey, this is due in 3 weeks. Calm down. And as simple as it was, I was like, you know what? Yeah, like, what am I stressed over? I took my time and I was like, okay, well then, you know, like I'm worried about, I don't know anything about Hungary. Let me go sit down and look it up. Let me go figure out what was going on in that time period, and then learning about the people's like cultures and everything. And I was able to like loop that into like the writing and everything. And it ended up being like, it went from just like a strange problematic segment that my teacher brought up to like a writing exercise that actually did help me.
Yeah. That's awesome. I like that. Cool. Way to go, teacher. Great advice. Just chill. Things come one day at a time.
And she was always like that. She was like, dude, relax. It's just not that deep.
I do want to ask you, we kind of touched on it a little bit, but what are your thoughts on, for example, for me, I like YouTube shorts.
Yeah.
I notice though, if I spend too much time flicking through stuff, like my attention span for the day goes down.
Yeah.
Like it is a literal, like I am working and doing well. I'll take like a 5-minute break and I'm like, all right, this is nice. And then I'll go back to it. And if it's something that's just like mindless scrolling is one thing. And that's when it really affects me.
Yeah.
Lately, though, I've been really focusing on blacksmithing and hunting. I want to pick those up maybe as hobbies.
Yeah.
And so I'm like educating myself now instead of just mindlessly scrolling. Like just that switch alone is such a crazy change. What's your view on like the brain rot and because it's honestly it's y'all, like it's this generation,
it's us
and then it's y'all down. Like this is it.
Like, you know what I mean? I think this is awesome because I feel every time somebody brings up that like, oh, like the attention span is like shortening everything, I almost feel personally responsible. I am the number one dealer of brain rot. I'm like one of the number one dealers of brain rot videos, to the point where like now me and my friends, it's awful. We can't have normal conversations. It is just like us repeating brain rot clips at each other and then laughing and then waiting 2 seconds and then repeating the process. And it's bad. But, yeah, I think when it comes to that, I think there's like, it's a strange side effect of social media that I think social media and the way that it interacts with the human mind is endlessly interesting, because the internet breaks down the human psyche in a way that, like, I genuinely think nothing ever has. Like, I don't think that, like, CIA interrogators could do this much damage to the human brain than, like, some random dude's TikTok account. That's just, like, fucking skibbity.
That's the thing. I don't know what happened.
And I'm going to be honest, I hate to report, it's funny every time. It'll never not make me laugh. It just won't. But so what ends up happening, right, is that, like, so it feels like a brain drain. So you're scrolling and you watch like a brain rot video, and a part of you's like, dude, what was even the point of that? And the way you start to understand the brain rot is that there is no point, right? That, like, brain rot is this weird Ouroboros. It's almost as if, like, it's a self-defeating joke. Well, like, the brain rot will happen. It'll be something nonsensical, right? And it's like steeped in, like, media, like, you know what I mean? Like, oh, something happened in TV and now everybody's making a joke about it or whatever, right? But there are so many different brain rot phrases that are stitched in, and they're stitched in on purpose to, like, reduce the value or reduce the meaning. Reduce the meaning in a certain, like, joke or a certain meme. And then it gets to the point where the fact that the video that you watch has no purpose is the joke. That it doesn't make any sense and it's not supposed to. But everyone who knows that it's not supposed to make any sense has now understood the meaning and is now in on the joke. And then it loops. And now more people are doing brain rot, meaning it's hitting more people who don't know what's going on. Eventually, they'll learn that the jokes make no sense, and that's the point. Now they're in the loop, and then they share it, and it's almost as if it is a virus. Like, it's, like, spreading slowly.
The brain rot virus 2025.
It's real. The pandemic is back, and it's on your phone.
That's hilarious. It certainly feels like a time waster, but I don't really like viewing things as time wasters because, like we say, there's no rush, right?
And entertainment is entertainment.
Entertainment is entertainment. If you're enjoying it, then that's kind of it. Like, that's the point.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to gain anything out of a rom-com, you know? Like, you're not supposed to gain anything out of, like, watching sports. You know, like,
I don't walk away from, like, Love Island with, like, a deeper perspective. You know what I mean?
Right.
But, and I think you raised a great point that I think that, like, brain rot is used in this scenario because I think it's a perfect snapshot of the thing that's been happening for years now, right? I think that, like, I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with brain rot at all. It's a silly joke and it makes people laugh, and that is, like, the value that it gives, and that's fine. Things can just be funny. But I think the reason why it's, like, almost scary in a way is because, like, the way that information is traded so fast that, like, and this is a statement that's been, like, said a billion times, but, like, because you can just go on and you can get years worth of entertainment in seconds, minutes, and now it's being packaged to you in a faster, smaller way that you don't need to. And I think brain rot is, like, the end result of that. It's, like, the perfect example of why social media can be really cool and really dangerous at the same time. Because, like, you'll be surprised how fast, like, I would say this, if you watch a movie, you will know exactly how long that movie is. If you watch, like, a 2-hour movie, you get up and you're like, yeah, I was sat down for 2 hours. You could watch 1,000 TikToks and lose track of time and not realize that it's 4 a.m. and that you have, like, work tomorrow and you need to stop, right? Because it's, like, people's perception. I think people don't think about when you're like, doom scrolling. Is when you're doom scrolling, right? You're not thinking about the overall arching moment in time. You're not thinking about how much time is actually passing. Yeah. You're just thinking about, like, that was funny. That was funny. That was cool. Whatever. Yada yada. And then it's like, of course you don't know what's going on. Like, you don't know how much time has passed. You're getting information in 1 minute, 30-second intervals. Yeah. Right? And you're only processing a video after video after video. And to you, it's like, okay, then it's like the max that, like, a TikTok's gonna hit you with is, like, 3 minutes tops.
Dude,
You know what I mean?
sometimes those are too long.
Yeah, and sometimes you're like, dude, shut up. Like, Yap Fest, shut up. Yeah, because other TikToks are like, I've watched TikToks that are genuinely like 2 seconds long. The video cuts, thing happened, video off. And I'm like, nice. Nice.
I mean, like I said, I am concerned though, because the thing is that there has to be a switch. Yeah. Like you have to be able to turn it off and actually do stuff too. Like that's the thing that I'm concerned about really is it's not just the brain rot. Because honestly, like I said, it's entertainment, whatever, kudos, live your best life. But it is a trap, low key. It's kind of like weed. Like you enjoy it, it's nice, it relaxes you. But depending on how mentally capable you are to handle it,
right,
you might be checked out. Like that might be it.
That
like,
might be a crutch.
Exactly. Forever. Yeah. Like when you drink alcohol, the next day you're not feeling as good. Like that's the whole, like you lose that night, you lose the next morning, and then like you might have residuals depending on how bad it hits you. Like, it's tough. And I view brain rot as kind of like those. Like it's a drug that people can sometimes have a hard time.
It's a hard time kicking it for sure. Yeah. And I think that's like why why social media, that's why it can be scary. Like I know a lot of parents are like really, I think that they've been taught to sort of demonize social media in a way that's like very valid. You know what I mean? Like there's a real concern of like, and outside of all like what risks that like are posed to your child and everything, like, your child has to have impulse control. And if and social media doesn't teach that. It's not gonna, like TikTok makes a very weak attempt of being like, when it's late at night and you're scrolling, occasionally you'll get you get a TikTok from TikTok and be like, hey, are you up right now? Are you scrolling right now when you shouldn't be?
That's hilarious. Does it do that really?
Yeah. If you go on TikTok at night, because it's just connected to like whatever time zone you're in. So at night they'll send you being like, hey, like maybe you should put the phone down.
That's hilarious. I had no idea.
Which is more than any other social media company will do. Like, you get an X, like, we don't give a fuck, dude. Here's some porn. Go crazy. Fuck, do your thing. Right? But it's like TikTok, but it's like every like 10th TikTok, maybe every like, but I think after you get it like 3 times, they'll just stop giving it to you. Like, all right, well, clearly you don't go fuck. So, but I think it's like a lot of kids don't have impulse control. And then the social media teaches you that like you get a dopamine response instantly. And it's like next, next, next. And to a developing child's mind, I can't imagine what that does. Cause now it's like, I was like, like I've been on here fucking streaming Cocomelon and it's like one after the next. And then you want me to be patient in the grocery store? Like, dude, what are you talking about?
For sure. No, that's super, super valid. And it starts so young. Like my daughter can fully use a tablet. Like my oldest one is very adept at like using her electronics and like video games, stuff like that. But she's very outdoorsy. Like right now she's like that, what is it? Like she's a little preppy, like she dresses nice. She says that she's considered nerdy at school, which I find hilarious.
Right. Because what is everybody else wearing?
Well, no, not the way she dresses. It's like she's like book smart. And so she's like the nerdy girl in class.
She's kind of smarty pants.
And I'm like, that's
dude.
winning.
Hell yeah, dude.
Oh, she's down in Florida right now and she's homesick and she wants to go home. And I'm like, that's winning. Like you're with grandparents. They're giving you everything you could possibly ask for. They're letting you run amok. And you still trying to come back.
Right.
Like we won. Like this is all right. Got it. I'm doing something right here.
One down, one to go. You know what I mean?
Right?
For real.
Yeah. This one's like more of a baby monster.
Yeah.
She's all about she's ready to fight. She's ready to
kids get violent and nobody tells you. I have little cousins, dude. They're like hanging out in my room and I'm like, you guys want to like watch something on the TV? I'm like, yeah, dude. I'm like, all right, let me turn on like Bluey.
Yeah.
And I'm turning on Bluey. I'm on my phone. Why are you two punching each other? Like, what's going on? Why are we brawling in my room? Now I have like a baby fight club on my hands.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, how do I shut this down? Kids get violent.
Nah, you don't shut it down. You start selling tickets.
Hey, I'm like, you know what? I'm like, the only reason I'm not gonna let you guys fight because if you lose this fight, I know you finna snitch. Like, if you could just get whooped and it'll be fine. Like, all right, like you guys like have
Let
your
it
bout.
ride.
You have your bout and do your thing. But yeah. Ooh. Yeah. You know what? It's like I think with kids, it's like I just think that everything nowadays is it's so necessary to have electronics.
Yeah.
And now,
Oh,
like
yeah.
they're using it in schools. It's everything. Like
They're learning how to code in elementary school.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
It's
My
crazy.
first typing class was in 6th or 7th grade.
Yeah.
First typing, just like the first time they gave us a computer was in 7th grade.
Yeah.
They're coding in second grade. It's
Dude,
crazy.
I was a kid. And one of my teachers came up to my mom and she was like, "Hey, he needs to know how to use Microsoft Word. So like, you need to, however y'all need to get that ball rolling, but like you need to know how to do this stuff."
Yeah.
And I was like that I think is cool, but also like scary. But you know, I'm not a teacher.
Yeah.
And I went to school with electronics and I turned out fine, I guess. So
I have another topic that I'm really interested on your take on.
yes.
All right. So have you heard of work it up 20s or live it up 20s?
No.
Okay. So it's a concept that basically you have your 20s to 30s to like pick how you want to live, right?
Mhm.
And so the two main ways that people spend their time is you either live up your 20s or you work up your 20s. Both have pros and cons. So the live it up 20s is you live life. Like you're enjoying stuff, but then you become an underachieving 30-year-old. Like that's the downside. You're enjoying it, you're doing whatever, that's the end.
Mhm.
But your work it up 20s is you might be a successful 30-year-old, like on track doing whatever, but you busted ass that whole time. Like there was no chill.
Yeah, and now like it's like you don't have hobbies at all. Like you
exactly.
And
so you've got nothing. Like it's just work, and then that's kind of thing. And then on the opposite, or not opposite, but in the middle ground is if you try to do a mixture of both, neither one is truly memorable.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like you either live it up or you work it up. I know for me, I'm 30 now, by the way. I just had my birthday a couple days ago.
Oh,
so I'm now a happy 30-year-old man. Emphasis on the old man. And I certainly did a work it up 20s.
Right.
But I feel like that's not as popular now. Now people aren't as much in a rush and you don't really have to do a work it up 20s as much.
Yeah. Well, you know, I think the important thing is that I think my generation, so like I'm 22 now, right? I think the people who I went to school with, the people like in my generation, the way we grew up, you know, we have a lot more options, but also I think we live in a lot more turbulent times. So like I think there is still a real argument to be made for either, right? If you asked me, I tend to be more in the live it up crowd, although through my actions, you would have guessed that I was the work it up crowd. Cause I've been working since like I was like 17 and I have not stopped. But yeah, I think that like with a lot of people now, they're realizing that like, oh, well, you know, like I think like back then, like live it up 20s wasn't like, that was like societally, that wasn't like an option for you.
It was very negative. Like,
like,
live it up 20s
you were
was
like a live it up 20s,
tough.
dude. They didn't call you that. You were a bum. You know what I mean? You were a loser. Yeah. This guy has no prospects.
That's
like,
hilarious.
You know? So, but I think now, you know, like I think a lot of people have a lot more, because my grandma has this saying where she was like, she was like, you know, she was like, people your generation don't feel shame anymore. It's just not an emotion that registers. I think it stems because like I think there's a lot more. I think we have a lot greater of a sense of personal freedom, right? I think that like people really want those memories. You know what I mean? I think everyone's biggest fear, because when you're a kid, there's a lot of pressure put on you about like, hey, like you're gonna have to grow up and you're gonna get a job and you're gonna have like a wife or a husband, you're gonna have kids and all this other stuff, right? So there's like, you know, so your future is put on a pedestal that when you're younger, sometimes you don't understand all the way. And then when at that date approaches, you get more and more anxious and you want to put everything into overdrive. I think what a lot of people are realizing is that like, you know, you don't want to put it into overdrive and get there and be unhappy. Because then there's no way to get that time back.
Yeah.
Right. If you work and you go hard and do all that, you know what, number one, props to you, right? But for two, there is a real world where like you grind, you get the grind set, and you go hard, and you go, you know, harder than anyone around you, and then you finally make it, and it's like, okay, you're stable now, but it's like, okay, and now when you're trying to talk to people, and you're like, what do you do? And you're like, I watch TV occasionally whenever I happen to forget to turn it off, or you know what I mean? And it's like, and then, you know, when people are telling stories, so like you be sitting around with like the homies, but you be sitting around with a group of people, and they're talking about like, oh, last year we went on this amazing trip. Oh my god, you should have been there. Me and Rachel, we had, and you're sitting there like, I've never left my state. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think people are really afraid of that. They're like horrified of not having those experiences. So I think more people tend to fall into the live it up crowd, because there's always a hope that like, oh, well, like I can bounce back. You know what I mean? Like, okay, like if I take the time and I enjoy myself, and I, you know, really like make some friends, do some experiences, really like get all I can out of this whole life thing.
Yeah.
Then like, okay, like there'll be a time and a place where I can just bunker down and like I can get it done. And you know, like life is tricky. So like that time might come sooner, time might come later. Sometimes if you're really unlucky, that time never comes.
Yeah.
Right. But I think if most people are a lot more willing to take the chance. Because I think even if you lose, you lose that coin flip, and maybe you're not as far off as everyone else. That like those experiences, those memories, those connections that you made, those will last you forever. You know what I mean? Like you know, like you don't lose those memories till you get older. Right. And it's like having those, and then like sometimes, and for me, I think I would much rather, I don't know, I think that there's a million things that I could do, you know, like, and what I want is to like pursue stuff creatively. What I want is to like have the job that I want, and, you know, like just to be able to like make things. But if that doesn't work out, then like, if I take time and I like be with my friends and I be with my family and I have those memories, I don't think I'll be unhappy. You know, as long as I can support myself, like as long as I can take care of myself or anyone else that I'm obligated to take care of, right? If I can support those basic needs and have those memories and, you know, like be good, then like, I think I'd rather take that option. And I think a lot of people do agree.
Yeah. I definitely think there is some true validity to saying that once your base needs are done, everything else is just for you.
Yeah.
Like, however much ambition you have, it's really just you versus you. Like, no one cares.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy how self-conscious all of us are.
Yes.
When no one gives a fuck about us.
Nobody
like,
cares.
it's crazy.
And I think in a perfect word, everybody would care, because it's like, oh, I want to see you fucking succeed, stranger. Right? Like fucking like, oh, old classmate, I want to see you do your fucking best.
Yeah.
Right? But like in hindsight, like in reality, dude, everyone else is having that same internal battle that you are, and everyone else is wondering whether they're a live it up 20 or a work it up 20 or whatever, and no one's paying attention to what you got going on.
Yeah.
Right? And not to say, and I think that might have like a negative connotation to it sometimes, like, oh, like nobody gives a fuck about you or whatever. But no, I think it's important to remember that like nobody's noticing what you got going on, because you're not the only person with things going on, and you're not alone. Like,
Yeah.
everyone has their struggle, everyone has their battle. So like, do you, and as long as you're safe, right? As long as you can eat, as long as you have a place to sleep, as long as you have a way to get to and from where you're going, as long as you know whatever bills you need are paid and everything else, dude, outside of that, like, live you.
Yeah. It is tough being unique. I feel like people really enjoy, I don't want to say the mob mentality, but they like being part of a community. Like, they like being part of a group. And if you want, like, this is kind of like that ambition headset, is like, whatever ambition you have, it can be in a sport, it can be in a career, it can be financial. Like,
right.
There's an infinite amount of things to be ambitious about, but you got to pick one and you got to really dive for it. And if people aren't doing that, even through hobbies, like let's say you have your 9-to-5 job pays bills, it does all the required stuff to live.
Right.
Have a hobby, have something you enjoy doing, but like, you need to spend time doing something. And in my opinion, creating something that's what people really miss. Like they
Yeah.
miss either creating something or like being outdoors, harvesting things, being with animals, like things where you interact with other people
Yeah.
or other beings. Like
Yeah.
that's big. Like that's where that purpose-driven life comes from, and that's what stops people from cruising to driving their lives.
Mhm.
And like that's a huge switch.
For real. And you know, it's one of those things. It's just like I think everybody wants. There's an innate will to like, oh, I want to leave my mark on the world. Like, you know, if something, this is something that like, especially, I had this thought when I was a kid, and it like has ruined my brain forever. And it's not a thought that children should be having,
Mhm.
but I was like, dude, like, if I die, like, because I was thinking about like, oh, like, you know, people like inventors or like people who are creative. I was having a thought when I was thinking about Michael Jackson. I was like, dude, he died, but like everyone knows who that guy is. And I
Yeah.
think that's so cool that like, and then like his family has stuff like they can see him and everything, and like he did things. And I think that gave me the impression like, oh, like, you know, like if something happened to me, like what would I leave behind? Like what would be the thing? And I think everyone inherently wants to have something like that. Like, oh, it'd be cool if I can create something, or if I could like leave my mark on the world or on people or whatever. And I think that everyone's inherently searching for that, whether that's like their mindset about it or not. Because I think that we're just like inherently like community oriented creatures. I think that like we're meant to be in communities. We're meant to be together. We're meant to be sharing ideas and thoughts. Like that's when humans thrive the most. That's when we're the most happy. When we're the most comfortable. We're the most creative. Is when we're in like a group. When we're in a collection of people who are like, oh, I think the same. Or like, oh, I want to make sure that you're okay and everything. Yeah, and I think people are really afraid to be unique because it feels like being unique is deviating away from that.
Mhm.
That like over the sense of your life, you've sort of like you have this idea about society, and like
Yeah.
and you form it by like the people that you meet and the way that you interact and the information that you learn. So now being unique is like you feel like you're stepping into territory that no one else has treaded from, or if they
Mhm.
have, they haven't talked about it. And you don't really know too much about like what happens whenever I do something that's unique, or what happens at the end of this road. And you know, you don't want to be looked at as like the person who like stepped away from the herd and then messed it all up.
Yeah.
Right. And that's a really scary feeling. And it's like, I think it drives people away from being creative, and it drives people away from being authentic in a way that like, I've noticed it a long time. Like back to like, if you want to go back to like the internet thing, like if you go on the internet, like no one ever takes anyone seriously, because to be serious is to be authentic. And if you have to be authentic on the internet, it's the scariest thing in the world. Right. Because then it's like, you know, like everything is under a layer of satire, and no one ever means anything, and nothing ever happens ever. You know, there's this huge veil of like, oh, like I'm just gonna like I'm just gonna like kind of like hide myself away from like what I'm actually thinking and what I'm actually feeling under these layers of like these like jokes and sarcasm and everything, because like people are horrified to be genuine.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to be the dude who said something and actually really means it. You know what I mean? Like anyone can make a joke. You can get on the internet and you could fucking shoot shit all day, right? But like being the guy who's like, no, guys, I'm serious, is like it's hard and it's frightening.
There's a lot when it comes to philosophy, and specifically in the modern day, people view religion, they view philosophy. Basically, they're trying to develop their worldview. I
Right.
really like what you were saying as far as people have a perception of society,
Mhm.
and that's where they build their worldview. And the thing is that when you're young, you have to build it with a limited amount of information.
Yeah.
The internet, one big thing that it did is it opened up the worldview. So people, if they do a little bit of research, they have the world at their fingertips. Like
Yeah.
they could see every worldview of every connection, of every culture, of every idea.
Mhm.
But it's hard. Like it's a lot of effort and it's a lot of work to actually go out there and get that information.
Right.
So typically it's your family, it's your friends, it's whatever your immediate environment is. That's what really develops your initial worldview. And then after that, you start to kind of engage with the world by yourself. And this is like 18 years old. I have I also enjoy writing every now and then. And one of the things that I like to write about is I like to gamify life. So you have like your introductory period, which is like learning the basics of the world, the rules, the mechanics of the game.
Mhm.
And that's your elementary school side. So that's like 0 to 10 years old, right? You're just getting through basic understanding of arithmetic, writing. Can I interact with other people? Stuff like that.
There's a really long tutorial section of this game.
Exactly.
We're getting through it.
And then 10 to 18 to 20 is you develop your initial worldview. Yeah. Like at this point, you start to get a little cocky. You start to think that you're like, I know life. I'm a high schooler.
Yeah.
Like,
dude,
I get it.
I know what's going on here.
Mom and dad, they don't know what.
They're old. You know what I mean? They don't understand what's going on here because they're old and stupid and old.
Exactly. Everyone's got to go through it. Like, it's just a phase. Like, you've got to go through that to get to the next part.
For real.
And then 20 to 30, that's the initial start of going out in the world. Mm-hmm. And it's tough. I like to think there's 3 main paths. So like 18 to 20 years old, you either go to school, so continue your education after high school, you go right into the workforce, but with that, you're limited on your options, right? Because you only have high school, you're limited on your experience, things like that, or the military. Like, when I was young, those were the 3 options.
Yeah.
And I feel like it hasn't really changed very much. Like, maybe volunteer, maybe be a hobo at home, like, you know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. But other than that, like, there's not.
No, I mean, those are usually your main 3. It was like you head up to college, you go find a job, or you go enlist.
That's
and
it.
I think everything else kind of falls into a category of one of those 3. You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those flavors for sure.
Exactly. So 20 to 30 is playing around with that. You really start to first develop yourself, not covered by your parents, but you as an individual. And trust me, there's so many layers to that. Like, for me, I had a really big shift in my mindset when I was 19, because that's when I got my girlfriend at the time, who is now my lovely wife, pregnant with our first baby. So I was real young. Yeah. So by 20 years old, that was it. And I immediately got on deployment. So I had 2 deployments right at 20 years old. So like my world shifted real quick. Yeah. But it's kind of like that. Like, I like to view it as well as a call to adventure. People cruise through life and they need something that calls them to something more. And I think that's the switch from cruising to starting to drive. And for different people, it's different times. You could be in high school and just be really active and really pushing it. But you also have to understand that not every idea might be yours. Like, it might be a path that your parents laid out for you and things like that. But when you're 20, it's truly on you. Yeah. Like, I don't have to go to piano recital because my mom set it up. Like, I'm gonna go do drugs and hang out with my friends.
Yeah, it's like, you know what I mean? It's just like, yeah, you know what? I don't think I'll be making football practice because we bought a blunt earlier, and I'm gonna see what that's about.
So 20-year-old, you get to do those things. Like 20 to 30 is experience life. You get to go at it. Now, I haven't gone through the 30 to 40 years side yet, but right now I view it as advancing. So like you kind of develop a stage in your 20s or 30s. It's wherever you're at, right? You can either have a continued education, you could specialize in certain fields, you could go the entertainment or creative route, infinite amount of things. But you're starting there at 30. And then from 30, you kind of advance, and then you start really focusing more on like, how good can I get?
Yeah.
20 to 30 is trying everything you can. Like, try different jobs, volunteer, do as much as you can. And then 30 to 40 is really like, okay, I know what I want to be when I grow up. Dude, I literally said that the other day. I was 29, and I looked at my wife and I was like, you know, I think I finally know what I'm going to be when I grow up. And she was like, what? And I was like, HR, which is what I'm already been doing for the past few years. But it wasn't a passion yet.
Yeah.
It was, I like this. This is cool. Let me get more information. Let me keep doing work in it and let me see. And I finally, after enough testing in the waters, like, yeah, this is what I'm going to do for a long time. I like business. It's fun making changes. It's fun doing those kind of edits with people. I actually had an HR training today with my staff.
Yeah.
And I was like, HR is like a game of Sims. Yeah. Like, you put all these parameters in place, you build up all the structures, and then you see how everyone engages with each other. Yeah. And then sometimes you got to be God and move these people out of place.
You know what I mean? It's like, all right, this is being problematic. Well, We got to separate you from the rest.
Exactly.
For real.
That's HR, and it's fun. It's a very female heavily populated field.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that the fact that I'm a guy in a high level position at the age that I am is a very rare thing.
Yeah.
And it's a blast. Like, I really, really enjoy the field. I think more guys should get into it. It's a great time.
He said having a blast.
But that's the path. Like, that's kind of the process that I've seen so far.
That's
so
awesome.
I also really like, and this will be a question for you, is I like viewing life as stats too. Like, you have a stats to your character. Like, if you woke up today and you were like, what is my base stats? Like, how far can you run? How high can you jump?
What does my character sheet look like?
Exactly, yeah.
I played this game before.
So what's your character sheet look like?
Yeah.
What are your top skills?
The easiest way we do this is we do this D&D style, right?
Okay, let's hear it.
So here are our stats. We're going strength, dexterity, constitution, wisdom, intelligence, and charisma. And I hope I'm not missing any. Okay. Strength. We're going. I think I'm rocking a decent 13.
Okay.
We'll go.
I don't know if that's good or not. I don't know what's the...
Okay. So usually, your stats going to range from 1 to 20.
Okay, 1 to 20. Got it.
I said nobody really ever rolls anything like as low as 1. So like the lowest that I've seen anyone ever roll is like 3.
Okay.
But like 1 being like, if you attempted this, you would hurt yourself and others. 20 being like, you could give a seminar about this with your eyes closed.
Gotcha.
And it'd still be perfect, right? So strength, we're going like, actually, I think we're going to be humble. We're going to go 12.
Okay.
Right? We're going to dumb that down to 12. Dexterity, I think I'm going to go a 14.
Okay.
Okay. Constitution, because I have health problems. So we're going to go like 10. We're going to go like 10.
Okay.
Going to go wisdom. I think I'm going like 16. I'll be humble. Charisma, I'm not being humble. Charisma's like a 19.
Yeah.
I'm funny as shit. I'm going to just be honest.
I got it. All
right. For real. And then intelligence. As it depends on the day. I think like 14. 14. Those are stats I'm rocking. I'm all charisma.
I like
in a way of like okay, this is something that I'm passionate about. All right. Now, for the sense of being kind, I will say that like ugly doesn't exist. Beauty's in the eye of the beholder. And everyone has traits about themselves that make them desirable. And if you're looking for a person, there's a person out there for you.
So we got that clause out of the way here.
Out the way.
Disclaimer.
Now, if you're ugly, right, you have to be funny. And this is something I've told everyone. I was like, look, anyone who will listen, I'm like, hey, if you feel like you're physically unattractive, you should go and really soul search the thing. If like, go try your best to try to make people laugh. And I'm like, don't just like go out there and throw out jokes. Like, you need to understand things like, what is the pace of conversation, right? How do I slip in something comical? Like, learn timing, learn comedic effect, learn these things as like social skills that you regularly employ, because I was an ugly child, right? And face-wise, I think I was pretty cute. I was just like overweight and very awkward and didn't dress well at all. Right. And in those environments, you have to have something of value, especially if you're under 18. This is so important. This is the most important thing that anyone will ever tell you ever. OK, don't listen to anything. College is not. Don't focus on college right now. That'll come. Right. Remember, we said take your time earlier. OK, the important thing that you need to figure out is how do I add value to the social scenarios? Because that'll help you more than anything. And as a child, I learned that if you're going to be ugly, you have to be funny. And I avoided a lot of bad scenarios by being funny, by just trying to make people laugh, by trying to inject timings into things, by trying to just like trying to be that person and kind of like class clown it a little bit. Now, obviously, I didn't want to get in trouble. It was like, like my dad didn't play about school, but Get you some skills, and that's why I think I learned very quickly that I need to be funny. And then because everyone eventually has their glow up. When you get older, you drop weight, you go to the gym and work out. If you were already practicing to be funny and then you get hot, the sky's the limit and no one can ever tell you anything.
That's crazy.
And if you've ever met someone who's really hot or really pretty or really handsome and they're also funny, at some point in their life, 9 times out of 10, they were unattractive.
That sounds like Matt Rife. That sounds like,
at least conventionally. And then you know what I mean? Like you could be a young man, you get back to the military and you're huge and you can make people laugh, and now it's like, okay. And now all of a sudden you rule the world.
Good to know. It is truly a skill though. Like that is pretty insane. I lost the skill of talking to people outside of work. Like that is a legit thing. Yeah. Like I grinded so hard with the military and with school and with like work and stuff like that, supporting the family. I stopped being able to talk to people. Yeah. Like it became crazy. Like every conversation was work. Like it was effort. I couldn't have any, like, I couldn't do small talk. And then I couldn't even, like, because I couldn't do small talk, I couldn't get into deep talk. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, I had to get real comfortable with people before, like, we actually had, like, a flow of conversation.
Yeah, because at that point, you're waiting for the awkward phase to just end.
Yes.
Right? Look, I was like, when you meet somebody, there's an awkward phase. And it's usually the is this person crazy phase, where like you meet somebody new and the conversation is a little stale because they're trying to feel out whether or not they need to flee from this conversation or not, right? And if you get past that stage, you can have some really cool conversations. Yeah. And I think people hate small talk, but that's the whole purpose of small talk. It's like, all right, let me establish a baseline here. Like if I can get these like, oh, like, oh, that's okay. Where do you work at? Like, oh, okay. Like, that's cool. Oh, like I used to go to school over there. That's awesome. Yada, yada. You exchange those small little tidbits, right? You get past that awkward stage. But yeah, if you don't practice that kind of stuff, it's hard and it's impossible. And for a while, I wasn't very good at it. And I had to get good at it because I was like, especially since I moved around a lot, right? So it's like, yeah, I need to make some homies because I don't know. I might only be here for a few months or like I might only be here for like a year. So like, and I don't want to just be like lonely the whole time, right? So it's like, then I got really good at like, there was a while where like, I think I've calmed down. Like, I think I've calmed down now, but there was a while like I didn't have any like, I didn't get embarrassed. I didn't have any social pressure, like to the point where like we'd make a game of it. We go to the mall and be like, all right, our job is to get fucking one person in this mall to just come hang out with us the whole day. Like one random person. Yeah. Like if we could go recruit a homie, we don't even have to see him after this, but we just want to make sure that we get him and he's like cool and hang out. And then we would go to the mall and like we'd find some like we go to like our favorite stores and we'd find somebody who looks cool and we'd go up there like, all right, you start with a compliment, you ease your way into it.
That's like real tactical with it. Yeah. I did not expect that.
Dude, I was addicted. Because it gave me such an ego boost. Because I was like, I'm the funniest motherfucker alive. Because I was like, if I could just get one person today to just come in and like, and you really got him as like we go to the mall and do it all the time. You give them the 3-store test, right? You go find somebody random, they go follow you, and if you can take them to 3 separate stores and they're still yours, that's the homie.
That's the homie.
That's the homie. And then I've met friends that I'm still friends with now doing that in like freshman year of high school.
That's crazy.
That I've met people that I'm like, yeah, and those are people that I think of as like my second family. Like those are like close friends. Cause like I didn't have any shame. And then sometimes you lose. Sometimes you go up to somebody, you making jokes and everybody, and they're like, dude, get away from me. Like for real. Like I'm just trying to shop. Like I've like work in 20 minutes. Can you please go away? And that happens. But I think it's like, I think people should never, ever be afraid to like try and put yourself out there because it's a skill. And if you don't practice it, you'll lose it. Absolutely. And if you lose it, it makes like every interaction like so annoying. And I think that's the big reason why people don't like, I think people who are super introverted and don't want people to talk to them is because like, for whatever reason, whether that be like of their own volition, of just their life circumstances, whatever it causes them to like end up in that scenario, like their like social muscles aren't practiced. Like they're not, you don't know how to carry the flow of a conversation. You don't know when it's like a natural time to like interject and like do every these things. And it's like those things are difficult, but if you practice them, then like that's most social interactions, and you'd be surprised if you're like just like a good conversationalist. You'll be surprised how willing people are to like to not only talk to you, but like how many doors that can open for you. Like there are opportunities and like job markets and things that like really matter. That like if you can just hold, you don't even have to be like a comedian. You don't have to be like top of your. If you could just hold a conversation, if it feels good to talk to you, there are so many doors that could be open for you. So like I challenge anyone to be like, yeah, go have some conversations with people, and even like really you could do that at time. Like if you're walking to a place, like the next person you see, you'd be like, hey, I really like your shirt. And you'd be surprised what can come out of that. Because people are like, I think people like social interaction. People want to talk. But like everyone is in a rush and everyone's really awkward and nobody wants to make that first move because you don't want to look silly.
I went to the Black Rodeo in St. Louis. It came here recently. And I went with a buddy of mine who's big in sales. His name's Joey. And Joey just got it like that. Like Joey will just like walk and like literally just walking will be like, y'all going to the Black Rodeo? Let's go! Like and just like start a conversation and like get a group together. And I'm like, what just happened? Like, what are you doing?
There are people that are just like it said, you know what? Yeah, because it's like you're like, you know what? You're the guy. You know? And it's like I think it's all about a confidence thing. I've noticed that like if you come up to people and talk to them confidently, they're like nine times more likely to just kind of go with whatever you've got going on, for better or for worse.
That's crazy.
For better or for worse.
How weak are Americans mentally? They're just like,
that's it.
You came to me confidently. You are my leader now.
Dude, I've convinced people to do, especially, and dude, there's some plus where you do it, but like, dude, like I've convinced people to like at bars to be like, dude, just come take a shot with me. Come get a random drink of my choice now. And they'd be like, sure, yeah. Just because like you walk up, I do this thing like I walk up to people and I have a conversation with them, and my favorite thing to do, this is like, and I urge anyone to do this, not out of like, sir, this is a good practice, but mainly because it's funny. Go up to somebody and talk to them just like you know them, just like they're a good friend of yours, you've known them for a while. And it's just like a casual. I do this at bars all the time. Like I'll see somebody and I'll be like, "Oh, what's going on, man?" I was like, "Yeah, dude, it's so cold outside. Like this is wild." I was like, dude, I forgot to bring my jacket. And then like one thing I did, I forgot to bring my jacket. Dude. Remind me next time to bring my jacket. Right? This person has never seen me, doesn't know my name, will never see me again. But they're like, "Yeah, sure." Yeah. And then I've had that happen. So the next time I go to the bar and I see them, they're like, hey, did you bring your jacket?
That's crazy.
And joke's on you. And now I have a person to talk to at the bar all the time. I was like, yeah. I was like, and now not only do I have a new person to talk to, but now I've established we have a running joke, right? We have rapport. And now there's always an excuse to come up and talk to you. Because now I can be like, I got my jacket, dude, look. and now I can get a laugh out of you and I can intro you into a conversation. And I do it all the time, but mainly the biggest takeaway is it is so much fun to watch people desperately try to figure out where they know you from. Because like if you walk to somebody, talk to them like you know them, they're like, okay, clearly this guy knows who I am. Like there's no reason he'd be talking to me if he didn't know who I am. It's like, am I the asshole? Like, do I just not know who this guy is? Like, you know. And then at the end of it, be like, oh yeah, my name is Alex, by the way. And I'm like, all right, cool. And now we're friends.
I love it. Alex, thank you so much for coming to the podcast.
Absolutely.
I truly, truly appreciate it. If you stayed this long with us, I truly appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you again. The Climb.
Woo!